You're about to start or have already started investing, but you're not sure where to put your money. I get this question a lot. It can be a bit of a minefield out there with all of this speculation and hot tips online. But luckily for you, I've done a lot of research and will summarise 2 stocks that will act as the foundation to your portfolio. If you ask investors about their portfolio, then I can pretty much guarantee that they'll always tell you about their winners and they'll never tell you about their losers. But if you were to look at their portfolio, I can pretty much guarantee that it'd be underperforming compared to the market. All of the research points to this. Now it comes back to avoiding putting all of your eggs in one basket. Instead, you want to build a solid foundation to your portfolio. The way I put it, it's like building the house before decorating it with individual stocks of your choice. The first one you will want, which should be around 60% of your portfolio at the start, is VWRL or VWRP, which is an all-world index fund. I've produced an in-depth video on this, but to summarise, by investing in this single stock, you spread your money across 3,700 companies, including the likes of Microsoft, Google, Apple, Tesla, Amazon, and all those other well-known stocks. But you also invest in countries across the globe and across different sectors. This immediately diversifies your portfolio, and VWRL has increased by an average of 11.26% per year. If you want to see your dividends come into your portfolio, then choose VWRL. If you want your dividends to automatically get reinvested into the fund, then choose VWRP. Both hold the same stocks, but VWRL distributes the dividend to you, whereas VWRP reinvests your dividend back into the index fund. Now I tell so many people about VWRL and VWRP, and in the end they end up picking their own stocks, only to tell me a year later that they wish they had invested in the fund because their stocks are actually underperforming it. The most difficult thing about investing in VWRL or VWRP is that it's boring. You buy one stock and the excitement of stock picking is gone. For example, you may have a hunch that a certain stock will be amazing and you'll get that thrill of taking the gamble. But stop. All the research says that individual stock pickers will lose out compared to if you just invested in an index fund that reflected the overall stock market. Now we all know when it comes to investing that there's a lot of misinformation online. I value myself in providing good advice backed up by research. If you want to be part of this change from misinformation online to research supported investment advice, then please show your support by hitting that subscribe button. The second stock you will want, which should make up the final 40% of your portfolio in the beginning, is the S&P 500, which can be found by searching IUSA. Now this one is quite simple. By investing in the S&P 500, you spread your money across the biggest 500 companies in the United States of America. So again, you get a holding in the likes of Google, Apple, Amazon, Facebook, Meta, etc. All of those big known US companies. Now of course some years, if there's wars or recession etc, you will see the index funds go into the red. That is completely natural in the stock market. So the advice here is if you're investing in the S&P 500 and VWRL, is to hold them for at least 10 years. Because what you typically see is after a dip in the stock price, there'll be a massive rebound and the stocks will hit all-time highs. So when it comes to investing, you need to be a bit like a robot where you're just chipping in on a consistent basis and avoid all emotions. Don't put your emotions into stock picking at all. And the way to do that is to just invest in an index fund. It reduces all emotion of individual stock picking, reduces all of the thrill. It's quite boring, but you will perform very well over the long term. Now the reason I say to invest in VWRL and the S&P 500 as a bit of a mix is the S&P 500 gives you access to those big US stocks that everybody likes to pick as their individual stock picks, but that's supplemented by VWRL that gives you exposure to these emerging markets like Brazil, India and China. Now at this point, of course, some people might say, well, why don't you just drop the S&P 500 and only invest in VWRL? Because VWRL is heavily weighted in the US anyway. And the simple answer to this is that most S&P 500 index funds charge very small management fees, typically around 0.07%, whereas the VWRL All World Index funds have a slightly higher charge at around 0.2%. So by investing 40% of your portfolio into the S&P 500, you concentrate your holdings in the US stock market at a lower cost than if you were to just invest in VWRL. Hopefully you can see from this video that the S&P 500 and VWRL should act as the foundation to your investment portfolio. Please do support the channel if you like this video by simply hitting that subscribe button.